My Mrs. Connie is the most attractive girl I've ever had the pleasure of playing hide the pickle with. I know you're supposed to say that about your missus, especially when you're within spanner throwing distance of her. But for me it's true. Granted, I did do a lot of charity work in my early life, laying pipe for the less fortunate women of the world, so it wasn't exactly a women's volleyball squad I was comparing her to. But we did start seeing each other before filters and the liquefy tool poisoned the well of men's expectations, so my eye wasn't completely out of balance. Anyway, if I did have any doubts about her attractiveness early on, they didn't survive past the first night I seen her in the nip. Oh, let me turn on the light. I don't want to miss seeing a single inch of you. Sweet mother of God!
What? Is it that bad?
Yeah, you have a stretch mark on the outside of your left tit and that's a real deal breaker for me.
Really?
No, you absolute lunatic. You look fucking unreal. When were you going to tell me about your body? It's like a Michelin star chef plated you up. Dear Lord, it's breathtaking.
And now it's not that good. Calm down.
Ugh.
What's wrong?
Sorry, I just imagined what your point of view is going to be like. Oh, I'm going to go put my t-shirt back on so both of us can leave this room with some dignity still intact. Needless to say, I took full advantage of having a missus that was a smoke show. But early relationship lust is kind of like the Challenger space shuttle. One hell of a high and the view is spectacular. But gravity's a bitch and you'll eventually come crashing back down to earth. And I remember quite clearly the very night that happened to me. So early enough in our relationship, me and my Mrs. Connie were getting ready to head out for a costume party for Halloween. My choice of costume was obvious. I'd already done a pirate and a soldier in previous years, so naturally, I was a ninja. Connie said it really suited me, given how I always come when she least expects it, but I don't sneak up behind her that much, so I don't know where she's getting that from. But I didn't get to bask in my costume long, because out she walked in a Snow White outfit that was so spicy, she'd have been a risk of being kicked out of a strip club, much less a pub. Now, had you asked me who I'd want my missus to cosplay as, Snow White wouldn't have even bothered my top 100, never mind my top 3. But Christ, was she wearing the fuck out of it. Soon as I saw her in it, I just wanted to pop her onto a spoon, stick a lighter under it, and spend the rest of my numbered days injecting it directly into my veins. Had I had my way, I would have had her laminated and stuck on the bedroom wall. From the moment we arrived at the pub, I just could not wait to get home. And that wasn't helped one bit by her after she got a few drinks in her and started whispering into my ear all the dirty shit she wanted to do when we got home that'd have sober her not been able to look herself in the eyes for 3 days. Needless to say, I spent the whole night absolutely salivating at the sight of her. I was at full mast in my unfortunately very thin ninja costume, so my night was entirely occupied by party tricks and doing my best not to miss the toilet.
Oh no.
So, we eventually get home and she heads up to the bedroom and I leave the dog out and down more water than the CEO of OceanGate. All with a spring in my step because I'm locked and loaded, absolutely chomping at the bit to make Snow White finally live up to her namesake. So I sprint upstairs, fly open the bedroom door ready for action and... Ha!
What?
Snow White, the outfit, what happened?
Yeah, my feet were absolutely killing me in those shoes. You coming to bed?
The whole outfit. The clothes, the makeup, dear God, the stockings with the red ribbon garters. Snow White was gone. And my reward for enduring 6 hours of a ferocious blue balling, knowing I, Ducky, was the only man on the planet with permission to take full advantage of it. A hospital patient who's just nipped out for a smoke. Oh, it was like I spent all day watching her cooking up ribs, tacos and cheesecake, only for me to be handed a bowl of porridge. Now, I could have handled this like an adult, but we both had very strong and opposing feelings on this. She felt like it was no big deal and I was being overdramatic, and I felt like I'd just watched somebody who had lied about loving me curb stomp my favourite Pokemon to death. So needless to say, I lost the fucking raisin. I threw an absolute wobbler. No word of a lie, the whole relationship nearly ended there and then. She could have taken a seat, trouserless, on the face of my enemies right there and then, and I wouldn't have made a bit of difference because I was already bouncing off the fucking limiter. We argued about it for the guts of an hour and I was still so sour by the end of it, I'd made her sleep in the spare room. Not to say I slept that night. I just laid there in the dark with melons for balls, absolutely vibrating with rage, trying to work out how to actually ghost somebody you live with. But look, these things happen in a relationship and you just gotta get over it, forgive and move on because that's the healthiest thing you can do. Not saying that's what I did. 10 years on and I'm still pissed off about it. Dear Jesus, I just realised she was 23 and all in that outfit. Oh, that's just made it so much worse. Give me a minute. But if I really dig into it, yeah, I was being a little overdramatic. Not just because not being able to get a go-offer in that outfit was the worst thing to ever happen to me, but I think what really rattled me that night was the contrast between those two looks finally opened my eyes to the secret that women have been hiding from us fellas all their lives. They aren't always these flawless angels us men fantasize about. They all actually have this filthy little bin goblin that they keep hidden behind the smoke and mirrors until they can trick you into falling in love with them, and then they set that little bastard loose. Do you know she single-handedly ruined thirst traps on me? I used to follow tons of scantily clad women on Instagram. You know the ones. Skin like ceramic, clothes with not enough thread to make a sock out of, and a back so arched it'll rattle a chiropractor. And I was happy. I could pop on, check out a few funny reels, admire the sexual artistry of those absolute haunter of horns, and then go about my day with these fantasies of women entirely intact in my mind. But then Connie went and got comfortable around me, and one day I was scrolling through my Instagram feed and I came across an especially fetching pic Connie had posted when she was experimenting with some makeup styles, and I was like, God damn, I wish I could hit that. Wait, I can hit that. So with this picture in hand, I set about searching the entire house looking for this lovely Instagram lady to see if I could turn a compliment into 5 pumps and an apology. But for the life of me, I couldn't find anybody that looked like the woman in the photo. The only thing I found was some lad in a shit wig and dirty pyjamas, elbow deep in pizza and sweets, farting into the couch cushions. I couldn't take women on the internet serious after that, because I knew they were selling me this idea of a woman that doesn't actually exist. Yeah, they can look like a man's wet dream for a moment in time, but if you dug under the filters, photoshops and kind lighting, you'll have yourself a sea of degenerates who describe the flavour of their own burps and occasionally pebble dash the back of their own knickers when a risky fart came up tails. They're essentially just men with less body hair and an innie instead of an outie. That kind of snapshot sex appeal you see online all the time, even if it hasn't been edited to the point where it's more humane to put it to sleep, it's the exception, not the rule. Day to day, even the loveliest of ladies will alternate between looking alright and looking like they've fallen out the back of a bin lorry and got dragged for 3 miles on a rough gravel road. About the only real time you get to bask in the glory of seeing your missus looking her best in something overly revealing and in every conceivable position, you need to book an appointment with her 2 weeks in advance or wake up early enough so you can follow her into the gym. Yeah, must be nice for them in there. They have to hear about your terrible day too, or is that just my special little treat? Also, it isn't just about her looks, it's about how she acts too. Early in the relationship, if I started poking her in the back and she wasn't up to it, she used to say awful things like, I'm too tired or I'm not feeling well. Horrible stuff really. But after she got comfortable, this somehow got worse. I asked her for the hop recently and you wouldn't believe what she said to me.
Oh, I wouldn't chance it. I nearly bleached the colour straight out of my underwear with a fart I had earlier. It's best not to risk it right now. What?
I mean, it's one thing to not go out of your way to inspire a horn, but talking like that has got to be considered some class of domestic abuse in some countries. Though, to be fair, women have been put into mismatched sex drives since we were wearing leaves for jocks, and Connie's no different, so maybe that explains it. But I think sometimes she forgets that it is actually in fact me that she's been with for the last 12 years. Because she'd be watching Aquaman or something, and she'd be absolutely gushing over Jason Momoa, narrating her own hardcore erotic fiction out loud like,
oh my god, I let him ruin me every hour of every day. He could do whatever he wants with me. He could break my spine and I'd say thank you.
And I'm sitting there listening to it like, this is from the girl who had an absolute panic attack when I suggested we do it on the kitchen counter last week. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be absolutely devastated when he finds out what he's been missing out on.
The sun is a deadly laser, okay.